financial literacy classes should be mandatory. I think it should be a pay scale. It should be structured.
All these comments, he's a terrible, and he's this, and he's spineless, and he's not a good man. Now, that doesn't mean Nico wasn't buns last year.
Past December, cats like Nico Iamaleava almost held out of playoff games because they were trying to renegotiate contracts in the middle of a playoff run.
This Nico situation keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And now that we found out that he was been trying to opt out since the college football playoff, I think it's a good time to put a bow on this situation. We're going to hear Pat McAfee because this situation was so crazy that he had Josh Pate on his show. And we're also going to hear from Deion Sanders, who is someone that even before the situation has been advocating for the kids while people throw Nico under the bus. And if you're a 10 fan, hey, I can't blame you. Deion Sanders has been very adamant about protecting these kids. And unlike some people, Lane Kiffin, who just complain about NIL, he's also offering some ways to fix. So let's start right here with Josh Pate reporting that not only Nico, but a slew of other Tennessee players wanted to sit out during a playoff game.
As we dive into this, is a lot of the people who have been pushing for the changes that are happening in this sport, they would call them progress. I would call them just changes. A lot of the stuff they told you didn't have to worry about, a lot of the stuff they told you that wouldn't happen, it's funny how it keeps happening. These are the same people who would tell you players would never opt out of playoff games. You know, if we had more playoff games and less meaningless bowl games, then players won't opt out of playoff games. You know, that same crowd fails to mention that this past December, cats like Nico Iamaleava almost held out of playoff games because they were trying to renegotiate contracts in the middle of a playoff run. He wasn't the only one. But just understand, all these people who cannot take a piss without getting the front of their pants wet, that claim to know what's best for this sport and claim to be visionaries, and boy, they can type a lot of words per minute, can't they? They have not the slightest clue what's best for this sport. And so we've taken the stance on this show for the past several months that we'll just ignore them. I don't really care. I don't care if you label me anti-players' rights. I don't care. I am pro-college football.
And I have a lot to say in response to that, because I feel like the issue with that conversation, it's so holistically on the side of, you know, sports conservatism that it's just kind of dumb. Like he said something, oh, it's just change, it's not evolution. No, it is evolution. This is what evolution looks like. It's uncomfortable. It looks nasty. It looks wrong. There's going to be points in times where things don't make sense, but we need to stay on the regulation word. The fact that somebody with as a large of a mouthpiece as him, and we're going to get deeper into it, continues to spew this idea that it's all awful and all terrible. No, because I have a theory that the NCAA wants it to be terrible, that the NCAA refuses to enforce any type of rules because they want more Nico situations to happen. They want y'all to be able to dogpile on a 20-something-year-old kid, right? And behind y'all's Twitter fingers and whatever, call him all types of names, call him, disrespect his Polynesian lineage, because that's what y'all been doing on Twitter, you 10 fans. A governing body who said, oh yeah, y'all can get NIL money. They did it. They allowed for the second transfer portal window. They allowed for a playoff to be introduced in the window to be in the same thing. It's the NCAA. And I'm sorry if it seems like I'm a little bit frustrated or whatnot, but I've seen all these comments on Nico, and he's a terrible, and he's this, and he's spineless, and he's not a good man. Now, that doesn't mean Nico wasn't buns last year, because he was buns. he was kind of bad. But that does not negate the fact that he is human, okay? So instead of going at this governing body that keeps you over the fans, y'all keep yelling at the player. What is that gonna do, guys? The player can't change anything. I'm sorry. Get your pitchforks and find your local representatives at the NCAA and tweet some mean things to them, because this is what Deion Sanders has to say.
When I say I genuinely love these kids, I generally really do. It's not about what they can do for me on the football field. It's about what I can help them with in life. Landscape has changed in football. Once upon a time, you guys never attacked college players. Now they're making more money than y'all. And some of y'all are envious and jealous about that. So you're on the attack. It was hands off a college player because he's an amateur. Remember that, guys? Now it's hands on. Go at them any kind of way you want. They're making more money than me, and I'm mad about it. When you attack them, these guys are sensitive. They've never been attacked. They hadn't gone through what a grown man, what I've been going through with y'all for years. They haven't done that. So it is what it is. I know you're going to do your job and what you must do, but your job does not say attack.
And this is what pisses me off so much, because I've been making videos for months about the transfer portal NIL, and I continue to be hard on both sides about it, making fun of players for not making the right decision, and as well as doubling down every single time y'all see one of my videos and saying the NCAA needs to enforce their fucking rules that they created, that they made, that they established. They can't even enforce them. Not in the transfer portal, not with NIL, because the collectives running around. Now you've got the House ruling that's about to come mess all of that up, because again, the NCAA just didn't have any real rules. So how does the no rules equate with a Supreme Court ruling? I don't know. And the NCAA probably doesn't give a fuck. Like I gotta be honest with you, the NCAA does not care. So I love it, and he's gonna get deeper into it. And I'm happy that he's talking about the structure. But I've yapped it long enough. Let's get into this yap. Let's hear Josh Pate on the Pat McAfee podcast, and I'll yap some more.
Whenever this NIL thing started happening, it was very evident there was one worry. It's going to ruin the game. It's going to ruin the sport. It's going to ruin what college football is as a whole. This past weekend, with Nico Iamaleava, quarterback for the University of Tennessee, holding out of spring ball and basically saying, I want a new contract before I come back. This is the first time this has happened. Everybody fears, I assume, that this is going to happen a lot. And is this one of the things that everybody was worried about potentially being the downfall of college football, Mr. Pate?
Yeah. I mean, you sit next to a guy every Saturday morning who just got out of this business and into the media business and warned about all this. But notice, whether it's Nick Saban, whether it's Lanning or Ryan Day or Steve Sarkisian, whoever, I've not heard any of them say, man, I'm worried about NIL ruining this sport. What they've said is, I'm worried about zero structure ruining this sport, like zero guardrails. No one knows what's legal. I was down in Athens 2 weeks ago. Kirby Smart said, you know what my wish is? My wish is when I'm in spring practice to know who's going to be on my roster in the fall. Like I've already disillusioned myself to all the other stuff. I just kind of want to know who's on our team. But here's the part that sucks, okay? So Nico Iamaleava is the face of all this, right? And then you get down to the nuts and bolts of the story, and it's not Nico Iamaleava really representing himself. It's people representing him. Now, when you guys talk about the NFL, that means a certified agent. They don't even know what the word certification means in college football. I can go represent someone today. My cousin can go represent someone today. And they're the least equipped people on planet Earth to do it. But yet, because they happen to share the last name or they happen to have grown up in the same cul-de-sac, they're actually going to collectives before the playoffs saying, hey, my client got you to the playoff. We want to renegotiate now. And then you're in the middle of spring. Hey, we want to renegotiate now. And I'm telling you, Pat, this thing got made public because of Nico. Dozens of other examples of this going on, including with other playoff teams this past cycle. And so the big fear for college football, to me, has always been the slow erosion of what really makes it great. Because, like, you're out on the road every Saturday, so you feel this stuff emanating from campuses, or campi, which is the plural of campus.
Nice.
It is.
Hey, man, good work.
There's a different layer, like several layers, pageantry, tradition, but at the very core, there's something about that power T, as infantile, as rainbow and unicorn as that sounds, it means something to those folks. And the big fear is it doesn't mean as much to the players anymore one day as it does to me. And that's kind of what makes me check out a little bit.
I'll have to say, first off, Mr. Josh Pate, I do have to apologize for calling your noggin and your age into question. He typically does give really good takes. I'm not mad at Josh Pate, and I doubly appreciate him for literally echoing the sentiments that I just yelled at y'all for no apparent reasons, because he perfectly summed it up. On a bigger show than his own, he made sure to say, hey, look, this is a representation, and at the core of it, and I love what he said. Hey, Kirby Smart, Deion Sanders. I don't know how because Deion Sanders has spoken out about it. It's so. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna get crazy, but it's so interesting that like Deion Sanders isn't looked at as a bastion and changer of the transfer portal NIL, when in his short 4 years, now going on 5 years of being a part of college football at the FBS and FCS level, he's consistently spoken out about it. Since he got at Jackson State, most in a lot of his audience, and we got off season, so if y'all want to go rewatch it, we can rewatch it. But he spent a lot of his time speaking on the transfer portal, and not just it's bad and it's this and it's that, but also, hey, how do we improve it? So to also give more flowers to Josh Pate, appreciate you for sticking on the point of it's not that players getting paid is the problem, and I really. If y'all even say that in my comments, like I'm just not responding to y'all anymore. The problem is the structure and the lack thereof, like there is, and even here, it kind of frustrates me. Not only at the end with the whole, oh well, I just feel like they don't care about it as much, so I just check out. It's just like, golly, I'm sorry that they don't play a tennis. This isn't rowing. This is the most popular sport in America, dog. If you want passion, and I've said this for years, if you want passion, if you're afraid of the game, or if you just love college football, then go watch FCS. Oh, I don't see a bunch of North Dakota State fans, huh? I don't see a bunch of South Dakota Jackrabbit fans, huh? I don't see a bunch of Marist fans. I don't see a bunch of Western Kentucky. Wait, no, Western Kentucky is not. They're not FCS. I'm thinking of another school. Anyway, McEachern. What's that school called? That other small FCS. I don't see a bunch of D3 football fans. I don't see a bunch of D2 football. It sounds like y'all want the best athletes in America from the ages of 18 to 23 to play at the highest level for 3 to 4 years for free. You can eat my left nutsack about the degree. They're going to get a geology degree. Have fun. For free, and then hope that he can make $1 off it. Because, again, the problem, it always goes back to the NCAA. It always goes back to the NCAA. The problem with the old system is not even that getting a scholarship and the amenities and free room board. I think that would be okay. If you accidentally pick up a $5 bill, the NCAA doesn't come to your home and shoot your puppy, because that's what it felt like they were doing. I mean, you sign an autograph, you go on a dinner, and it's just like, oh, well, you can never play football in the NCAA ever again, and I'm taking all your awards. Like, that don't even make sense. That don't even make sense, dog. Everything that governing body does is completely crooked. I don't know why we don't put it next to FIFA when we talk about some of the most corrupt organizations in the world of sport. The NCAA is a complete, just a disgrace, right? Yeah, I just think they are. And the fact that they've allowed Nico to get dragged like this is kind of nasty. But just to close this video up, we've been yapping about this a lot. I've talked about this a lot. This is a very passionate thing, and I'm sure this is going to continue as it goes on once he finds his team, because there's going to be a team that wants him. Once Tennessee, get somebody in the draft. In the transfer portal, there should be a lot. But I want to talk about this because, like I said, Deion Sanders, does a really good job at not just saying things. Right? It just saying there's a problem, but he also follows through and offers solutions too. So here he is at the Alamo Bowl, and he's going to be asked, what does he want to change, or one thing that he could change about college football? Oh, if this is
second pick of the whole draft, several other guys is definitely going to get drafted. It wouldn't have happened a few years back. Coach has been doing his thing, but this is a blessing. So I don't take any moment for granted.
Question? Far left. It's a question for both coaches. If you could change one thing about college football, I'm just curious what you would change, whether it's the conference schedule, recruiting-wise.
It's a good one, Coach. You take that first. I'm going to ponder this thought.
Yeah, as long as we play the game of football, I don't care. I mean, they tell us what the rules are, and then we adapt. I think the key is to be proactive and think ahead and stay with the times. And so I like old school principles myself, but I also don't want to be outdated. I want to be on the cusp of forward thinking. So whatever they say, whatever they pass, we just try to stay ahead of it. And as long as we play the game of football, I'm good with it.
I've had a minute to think. Well, Coach gracefully answered the question. I think financial literacy classes should be mandatory, so these kids understand how to manage their money when they get their money. And I think it should be a pay scale. It should be structured. It can't be just Tom, Dick, and Harry gets this because he had a great year somewhere else. Then that throws off the chemistry and the structure of your whole team. It's just like one of you guys coming out here and some guys from outside come in here and they make more money than you, and they hadn't even been doing the work that you've done. It's not fair.
I mean, I made a video the other day. I said, look, Deion Sanders predicted this. I don't think Deion Sanders is the only one that predicted this. I think Kirby Smart predicted it. I think a lot of smart people that have been around football predicted this scenario. But there you go. I don't think it's not only that financial literacy is important on how, I don't know, maybe you go the way that you handle deals, right? Because maybe if you handled a deal in a better way, maybe if you go about negotiation in a better way, their representation, maybe you're still with Tennessee, maybe you don't get the full $4 million, but something gets worked out. Like in the Nico situation, I'm sure he could have got some extra money. I'm sure he could have got something to accommodate or something to figure it out. But without the financial literacy in knowing even what it means to value, oh, well, this person got 4,000, well, this person is this person is this. Like it creates situations like we have with Nico, where him and his representation have created a firestorm for him, a young gentleman, to get thrown under the bus and sadly probably have his football career derailed a little bit and looked at in a weird light, because he's now become the poster child of what it means to, or at least the negatives of the NIL, quote unquote. But y'all let me know down in the comments down below if I yelled too loud, if I was yapping too much, man. I'm just a little passionate about this. I was a little kid making, graphics or graphs and projects about, what would you want to do when you get older, is having collegiate players get paid. Because first of all, I thought I was going to be a collegiate player. I did not, what I'm saying? The ACL stopped me. ACL and probably me being 5'10", probably that too. But other than that, I feel as though the older I get, the more empathy that I'm starting to have for younger people. And I thought that was the reverse. I thought you started hating these young men when you got older. But as I grow older and I'm not an unk yet, but as I approach unk status, I'm almost like looking at myself, who I was just a few years back, just a younger gentleman, not the kid, because kids are different, but a young gentleman, and being in that period of life, that 18 to 23, 20, whatever, right, where that's where you have to make this transition to be a real adult, right? You're 18, you don't become an adult right off the bat, right? You're not going to be a genius, and I don't know too many geniuses that are under the age of 22, right? In decision making and stuff like that. So I just really wish that, whether that means we got to scale this money back or what it is, but or tiers or something, there has to be some sort of structure, man. But I really appreciate y'all hanging out with me, man. If y'all want to see any more NIL transfer portal videos, any other updates, man, go ahead and subscribe, hit that bell icon, stay locked in with us. I know you're great. Keep being great. So we'll see you next time. All right, peace.